Some of those dogs don't have
I just came here to smile and wave at everyone.
I just like putting on. I'm going to do that one time. Oh, I know. Yeah. Good pet smart. I don't know if it makes it even. Put a leash on it and walk it and see what happens. Oh, man. It feels good. That's good for Halloween. You started? I'll check it out. Check the audio and make sure it's smooth. Yeah. Put a bit in it. What's that?
Thank you everyone for being here. Last time, please silence your phones until interaction. Pastor Todd.
Good morning. Would you bow your heads? Remove your hands, please, in reverence of today's events. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you today, Lord, as we remember the events of 20 years ago. And Lord, we pray your peace and your comfort, Lord, for those who are dealing with, have dealt, and are still dealing with the events of that day. Lord, we ask that you would touch those that are still having illness, sickness, Lord, in their bodies because of this event. But today, Lord, we're here to honor alongside with you those who gave their life on that day. Lord, we remember those who rushed in. We remember those who gave aid. We remember those, Lord, where others ran out, they ran in. And Lord, we thank you, Lord, that you are giving comfort and peace, Lord, to each and every one of us as we remember on this day. Emotions become high, Lord, in this day. But Lord, we thank you for that. We thank you, Lord, that you are the answer. And Lord, we know that there will be justice that will be brought. And so, Lord, today we remember those. We remember their lives. We remember their sacrifice. Lord, we ask that you would continue to be with every one of us. Lord, let us continue on that battle cry that we would never forget. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Good. Forward. Oh. Hey.
Will the Chino Valley High School Choir please come sing the national anthem, please? Please welcome Dennis Wesley to say the national, or I'm sorry, Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we have a little bit of microphone interference. Can everybody hear me okay? Elected officials and patriots. Thank you for joining us on this historic anniversary and the rededication of this beautiful statue to the town of Chino Valley. Through the extensive labor hours, time, and treasure acquired by the 9/11 Memorial Project and countless volunteers. September 11th, 2001 was the beginning of issues that affected our America painfully and indefinitely. That years ago impact our nation in such a way that for me personally can never be forgotten. I can't expect our younger generations to understand the heart-wrenching impact as the rest of us, but if we don't, they may never know, and their worlds were changed forever. Please be seated. I remember the silent skies. I remember the nonstop news coverage. Everywhere. In the windows of buildings, shouting our grief and standing together and grieving it. I remember turning off the TV and radio because it was all just too much. I remember, all the way in Arizona, the silent looks of strangers, of heartache, fear, and grief. I remember sitting in silence with my coworkers, and I remember, united we stand. Beth, will you please unveil the plaque?
When I came out here 2 years ago, I saw the monument sitting in an empty field with no identifying plaque. I was deeply saddened. I knew this had to be fixed. The events of September 11, 2001 shaped the future of all Americans, both those living at the time and those who came after. It's as pivotal as the bombing of Pearl Harbor and the as I began the project, I was pleased to see that other older members of the community were willing to follow my lead and take action to memorial sites. The work of the older volunteers was a blessing to enhance the beautiful artwork of Mr. Roundy and a fantastic the donors who helped to get this plaque purchased. Supervisor Craig Brown, Big O Tires of Prescott and Prescott Valley, own family, and many others. It's the light that I revealed this plaque.
You want to know? Please come forward.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful memorial. I want to first start off by acknowledging Newell Roundy, who did the sculpture that's up here, and Mark Garcia from the Chino Valley Police Department, who made this entire thing possible. I'm going to be interrupted in a minute here from a flyover from Native Air. They ended up on an emergency call. They're en route right now, so just let you know. If I shut up, it's because I see them or hear them coming. On behalf of the 9/11 Improvement Committee, which consists of Chino Valley Police Chief Chuck Wynn, John Stankiewicz, from the Compass Training Center, and myself, we would like to thank the following business sponsors: American Concrete Sales, Tom's Print and Sign, Chino Valley Ace Hardware, 7 Ministries, Home Depot of Prescott, Doug Schroeder Boomworks, Suarez International of Prescott, Duffy Metalworks of Chino, the Chino Valley Foundation, and the Chino Valley Police Department, and Beth Vickery for the beautiful plaque. I would also like to thank the following major vendors: Carved in Stone of Arizona, Manzanita Metalworks, Arrowhead Materials, the Flywheel Company of Brooklyn, Michigan. Those are the people that have donated there or provided everything you see out here as far as the improvements in the memorial over the last 2 years. Well, they're headed this way. I'm going to ask that all volunteers that worked here did anything at all to help. Please step forward for a moment. We timed it perfect. Here comes Native Air for the flyover. towards trouble and not away from it. All of our military members.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. Can we please have a round of applause for Mr. Larry Holt? He is the one that started this project.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know these are people who gave their time, their equipment, their efforts to put this all together 3 times over. Because if you don't follow us, we got washed out twice in the last 6 months of every building. So, labor love is really true. You really work your tails off. I want to give some special recognition here to some of our fellow volunteers, the Zinger family. These people, this family, Robin, Dave, Nathaniel, Wyatt, Jason, were out here every day except for one, and they were out of state on that one day. Every other day they were out here working. They provided countless hours of tractor work. They got the water wagons out so we could wash things down, pack stuff, and their hard labor. And I tell you, it's a lot of hard labor to be shoveling 20 tons out here today. Jay Paddock and Scott Short. Jay's been your driver today, but he's also been out here. Annie Perkins. Great to fit. It was Annie who brought me back in to refocus. Mayor Jack Miller. Mayor Jack Miller. Jack jumped in and let him know it's going to be noisy. Right in the mic, please. Mayor Jack Miller, I don't know what to say. About a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I went into council and said, we're about 80% done. And he said, what do you need? And I said, I need concrete work. And I said, we need concrete for the poles. The next thing I knew, everything was framed out here. We have the parking pads, we have the sidewalk, everything. So Jack, thank you. I don't know if he's here, but if you guys participated in the raffle, you saw that beautiful 9-acre willow. Diane Short did that. You want to thank her for that. We needed some volunteers to the Chino Valley Latter-day Saints Church, and one day they did this retaining wall for us. Great group of kids. Bill Tutabini, I don't see you, but if you're here, thank you for the last minute putting the framework together for the new plaque. I'm going to be very negligent if I didn't recognize the town council for allowing me the absolute honor. Everyone who has supported us, whether it was buying a brick, buying a raffle ticket, whatever, just coming by and giving us a little encouragement, thank you. A lot of countless hours out here. I don't know what it is with Chino. It gets hot. It gets windy. It gets rainy.
Freeze.
And for those who are wondering, we're not done. Okay? We just got a donation of 1,000 bricks from Carver Stone. So we'll start doing the pathways out to each of the storyboards. The engraved bricks are still available. We'll be swapping those out with the ones we're going to be putting down now. So, ongoing project. We don't know what else is going to go, but it's going to keep going. Okay, last and not least, I'm going to steal a phrase from our town council that I absolutely love. One town, one team. This is it. All of you, all of these guys. At this time, I know that everybody up here is honored to present this memorial in its revised state to the town of Chino Valley and its citizens, and may it forever stand. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to invite Clary Oliveri, I'm sorry if I butchered her name, former New York Police Department, as our keynote speakers.
Nervous. I'm not much of a public speaker. Morning, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Terry Oliveri, and I'm a retired New York City police officer. 20 years ago today, all of our lives were changed forever. 9/11, I was a police officer with NYPD. Every officer will have different stories as to their personal experiences on 9/11 and the days to follow. These are few of mine. Morning of 9/11, I was at home. Here and heading to work, two planes have crashed into the Twin Towers. It looks like terrorism. News was reporting that the NYPD declared a level 4 mobilization, which had only been done one other time in history, which basically meant that everybody, all hands on deck, was to come in unless they were physically unable, including vacation and sick leave was canceled. I quickly turned on my police scanner to listen to the NYPD emergency channel to hear what was going on, and I wish I had never done that. Shortly after I turned it on, the first tower collapsed. Screaming I heard on that radio will haunt me forever. I heard emergency service workers begging for help, stating that they were on the third floor. It was no longer a third floor, and they were probably underground beneath hundreds of floors. Likely, I was shaken to the bone, and I turned off my scanner and jumped into the shower. When I got out of the shower, unfortunately, that was when I heard continued screaming, "Help me, I can't breathe." Then she began coughing, and I heard her breathe her last breath into the radio as the radio went silent. Moira was a 13-year veteran of the department, a wife, and a mother of a 2-year-old daughter. There's not a day that goes by that I don't hear her voice in my head. I tried calling my family in Florida repeatedly, but I couldn't get a line out. They were supposed to be in Disney that morning, and the news was reporting that Disney was being evacuated. Police radio was buzzing with calls of explosions, fires, suspicious vehicles, and I really can't talk about. I wasn't sure what was happening or if I would ever return home to my family on a crazy day, so I wrote them a goodbye letter just in case. Laid it on my bed, got ready, jumped in my truck to drive to my family. As I got to within sight of the Manhattan skyline, I could see huge clouds of smoke booming from the World Trade Center site, and the iconic towers that I grew up with were gone. As I sat at a traffic light, another driver who must have been staring at the smoke crashed right into the back of my truck at full speed. By the time I made it into work, the NYPD bus had already left for the World Trade Center site. I was devastated that I missed it, but it turns out that no buses were allowed in that as they closed the site to all rescue workers the first night because of the danger of surrounding buildings that were still collapsing. In all, 7 buildings completely or partially collapsed that day at different times. I spent my first night on September 11th guarding a power station, my precinct, watching Apache helicopters and AWAC planes circling around above us. That was the only traffic in the air. Look back. Then when we finally got to the pile, we saw burnt and crushed. We saw a burnt and crushed fire truck being lifted out with a crane. Burnt out and crushed, dust-covered vehicles riddled the streets for several blocks. Buildings burning uncontrollably all around the site with no one fighting the fires. There wasn't enough water and enough personnel to fight the fires. Emergency vehicles lay crushed and burned. Pieces of buildings still falling around us. Inches thick layers of asbestos filled dust and debris covered the ground, and every emergency vehicle that drove by would pick up a cloud of toxic dust. We split into 2 shifts to go dig. When it was my turn to go in, I remember asking my cousin, we should do this. Yes, I was terrified. It reminded me that we knew cops and firemen who were missing in there, and that we want them to come looking for us. We were in there too. One of my best friends was on the FDNY missing list as well at that time. That advice was all I needed, and we headed in. We had to walk through a dark, burned-out building to get to the site. Water was pouring through the damaged ceilings from the floors above. It was like a scene from a horror movie. The mood amongst rescue workers was very somber and very quiet. Hardly anyone spoke. We all worked our butts off on the pile, as we referred to it, wearing only a paper mask, which most of us had to remove while working because we couldn't breathe through them. Did a lot of digging and a lot of bucket line work. I remember being shocked at how few things in the debris were recognizable. It seemed like it was all dust, concrete, and steel, and then you'd suddenly find a smashed keyboard from a computer or a wallet or an employee's ID card. Building right next to the former South Tower was badly damaged and started to lift to the side after its footing was damaged. They placed a laser beam that would alert us if the building crossed the beam and was possibly going to fall. While we were on the pile, that siren went off. I was never so scared in my entire career. I've been shot at before, and that didn't compare to the fear I felt at that moment. The cops on the bucket line all ran, tripping and stumbling over debris to clear the site. I know that we cops give firefighters a lot of teasing, but you know what? When I finally stopped running and looked back, firefighters never budged. They were standing on the pile wondering where all the police officers went. Smells in the air that day are ingrained in my mind forever and instantly take me back there every time I smell them. Still fuel from the generators, human remains, fire, smoke, burning plastic, rotting food from the countless buildings, stores, and restaurants in the area that were abandoned by those fleeing the collapses. One of the world's most bustling cities reduced to a ghost town at this moment. We were optimistic that we could rescue people, but we never did. Sadly, after the first day, not a single person died alive. I spent over 60 hours at Ground Zero. We worked almost 2 months straight without a single day off, 12 to 16-hour shifts every day. Each time we'd enter the frozen zone around ground zero, we'd pass wall after wall of pictures posted by family members looking for lost loved ones. Broke my heart because we all knew they weren't going to be found alive at that point. One thing that meant so much to us were the messages of support from the country and from other police departments across the world. People lined the streets holding signs of support as our buses drove by. Families baked cookies and cakes and dropped them off at the precinct. For a short time, the country loved police officers and it felt nice. Obviously, that didn't last. In the end, as most of you know, 2,977 innocent people lost their lives that day at the World Trade Center. A friend of mine from high school, James J. Carson, lost his life while working for Anna Fitzgerald in one of the bombs. Several cops and firefighters I know died that morning as well. Almost no one from New York could tell you that they didn't know someone who was sick that day. 20 years later, thousands of rescue workers have come down with cancers and illnesses, toxins that we breathe in, or are diagnosed every day. Several other conditions related to my exposure. 1,977 victims on that day, but many more sick. Thank you all for helping me here today. Thank you for this beautiful memorial honoring the true heroes that day, the ones who ran into those buildings and never gave up. May we never forget. Thank you. Anybody who visits the piece of glass from the World Trade Center still covered in dust. But take a
Sure how I'm gonna follow that. Thank you. Is that gonna be- On? Yes, no?
seated. Travelers flag is displayed.
Thank you, Lord. Again. They remember today, as the names have been read all across the country, Lord David, comfort family lives, knowing that the ultimate sacrifice that they gave for this time. So, Lord, thank you for those lives. Heroes in our eyes, our heroes. Thank you, Lord. Here with us, bind us together, Lord, again, that we're not fighting, that we are.
Final remark. I'll keep in prayer and remembrance the living victims, our first responders, military and veterans who are continuously struggling with serious health and quality of life, painful and traumatic issues. Let us also remember our allies worldwide. Let us remember the strength and unity we saw within our 20 years. I promise my class. May we all live with the same love, compassion, and patriotism as we did on 9/12. May God bless America and all those who love it. Food and beverages will be available at the top of the hill for hungry badgers as well as public restrooms. Thank you all for remembering.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Hope to come in and chat with you, or maybe have you on the show. Oh, that would be good. Yes, most definitely. Have a good day.